Hi guys. So today we are going to be doing number pattern, sequences and series, and then where we are going to start basically is we're going to start by talking about what a number pattern actually is. And a number pattern is basic what do we mean by a pattern? So it's something that has a trend or something or are things that have is the same trend. Yeah, that's what simply what a pattern is. They have the same trend, they have similarities, yet they are different in some way or the other, right? So in grade 12 we talk about sequences and series, and then we start with the arithmetic sequence. Now, let me first explain the difference between a sequence and a series. The difference between a sequence and a series is that a series is made up of um, a series is a sum of a sequence is a list of numbers, and then a sequence is a list of numbers, and then a series is the sum of that list. So what do I mean, or basically what am I saying? What I'm saying is if I am talking about a series of numbers, then a series of numbers will be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. But then what is the sequence? The sequence will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're simply separated by a comma, but in a series they are separated by a plus or a minus sign. So that's the difference between a sequence and a series. Now we start with the arithmetic sequence, and then now the arithmetic sequence is a sequence where the consecutive terms are calculated by adding a constant value. It can be positive or negative. And what I used to say about this, about an arithmetic sequence, is that an arithmetic sequence is the sum of, it's an arithmetic in an arithmetic sequence is where we add or subtract a certain difference, and that a constant difference is symbolized as t, as you can see over here. Right? For example, let's say we have 3, 0, minus 3, minus 6, and minus 9. You can see that we are adding minus 3 to every term, or say subtracting 3 from every term to get the next term. So that's what arithmetic sequence is. An arithmetic sequence is a sequence where the consecutive terms are calculated by either adding a constant by adding a constant value, which you can either be positive or negative, and we add it to the previous term, and that helps us determine the next term, just like that, and like that, like that, like that, like that. Okay, so now we then have the general form of the sequence, which we derive in this manner to say, okay, if the first term is a, then because we are adding a constant difference, which is d, then the next term is going to be a plus d. The next term will be a plus d, which is just basically a plus 2d. And the term after that will be a plus 3d, so on and so on and so on. And from that, we can derive this equation over here that you see over here, where we say, there's a question over here where we say Tn is equals to A plus n minus 1d, where Tn is the nth term and n is the position of the term in the sequence, and A is the first term and d is the common difference. So that is what we mean when we talk about arithmetic sequence, and that's basically it about arithmetic sequence. We have a constant difference, which is d, that we add to the previous term to get the next. And then we have the general term, which is Tn is equals to A plus n minus 1d, where A is the first term, n is the position of the term, and then d is the constant difference. Okay? And then we then have an example. Let's do this example over here. So we have minus 15, minus 11, minus 7, 173. The question is this an arithmetic sequence? How do we know if it is an arithmetic sequence? We know it is an arithmetic sequence if it has a constant difference of d. So then we have to check d, and we say, okay, d is simply equal to Tn minus Tn minus 1. So now what we can say, oh, this is simply T2 minus T1 minus T1. And this should be equal to T3 minus T2. But then let's first do this. Minus 11 minus 15. Minus 11 minus 15. And that's simply going to be positive 15 minus 11, which is simply equal to 4. It's simply equal to positive 4. Right, which is simply equal to positive 4. Now, we have to then check that this is constant for this is constant. So what we're going to do is we're going to check if it is equal to T3 minus T2. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say this should be equal to T2, I mean T3, sorry. I mean T3, T3, T3 minus T2. And we find that T3 is minus 7. So we have minus 7 minus 11. And we find that that is equal to 4. Now, we can then conclude that that sequence of ours is indeed an arithmetic sequence. The reason being D is equal to T2 minus T1 and it's equal to T3 minus T2. And that is how we check if a sequence is arithmetic, if a sequence is an arithmetic sequence or not.